All right, let's go. Eric Arnold here in the sports barn again. Sunday, is it the 24th? Let's see, Tuesday was the 19th, so 20, 21, 22, 24th. Sunday the 24th, old business. We've been losing, but Saturday plus 3.5 units. And missed out on a couple others, could have been higher than that. We're coming off a 3-year layoff, so we're trying to teach ourselves to handicap baseball again. We were pretty good at it, 3 years ago, and then routine is the key. That is, I'm convinced of that. And I believe that carries over into the game itself, that teams that are in a good routine, you bet them. Teams that are not playing well, you try to bet against them. Of course, you're always looking for value. It's hard. It's a very complicated deal. All right, so let's get right to it here. This team's just killed us this weekend. The Cubs, they're just killing us. I think it's a combination of things. I hate the Astros. I just think that's a terrible team. And but they've beaten the Cubs twice now at Wrigley Field at steep prices, and we've been on the wrong end of each. I mean, just a disaster of a weekend for us and the Cubs. And I guess we're just going to go ahead and stick our face in the fan again. It's like, I don't believe it. I don't believe the Astros are going to walk into Wrigley Field and sweep the damn Cubs. I mean, the Cubs have to get one, don't they? I mean, the Astros are pitching a guy who I think has lost 3 out of 4 games in his career, Peter Lambert. They're pitching one of their better guys in Imanaga. I mean, the Cubs are going to... They don't score. Right now they're just not scoring. Hard, and man, I don't know. I don't love this game, but right now we're picking every game just to do it. I would never bet every game, but we're picking every game just to do it. So there you go there. We'll, this is, they have to win a game. They have to, don't they? There it is. Oh man, this is another game I'm not crazy about. I've always liked Brady Singer. I think he's one of those pitchers that wins more often than you think. And that's generally speaking, more often than you think is never for most people. Brady Singer, he never wins. Well, actually, he does win occasionally. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at it, it's like, how can you pick the Reds? I mean, how can we pick the Reds? Well, they did. I mean, they should have lost that game 2 last night. They should have lost that game. That's a game they had the lead. They blew it in the 9th inning. Now they're, the home team in extras rarely wins, and somehow they got the win. I wasn't paying attention to this series. Is there something going on in this series with milk or something? I got a weird text yesterday from, I told you that like only 9 people go to the games, and I know like 2 of them. And I got a weird text about milk. I don't know what's going on there. But we're going to go ahead and take the Reds. Don't love that one. This one I do feel pretty good about. The Indians. Parker Messick has pitched really well for the Indians, whereas Andrew Painter for the Phillies has been ass. And I don't expect he's going to be much better today. He's not good. He's Painter coming up through the Phillies system. I know something about the Phillies because the Sports Barn is squarely within the Philadelphia sports market. So we're contractually obligated to follow the Phillies, Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers. Painter was supposed to be the next big thing. That this guy coming up through the system, he's 6'7", 6'6", throws 100 miles an hour. He was going to be an ace. And then the Phillies do what the Phillies do. They slow roll these guys. They always slow roll these up-and-coming superstars. And usually they don't pan out. Does anyone remember Dominic Brown? Dominic Brown, he was going to be the next Ted Williams. And he was going to carry the golden era Phillies into the 2010s and 2020s as a superstar, and the Phillies just buried him in the minors and never let him shine, and eventually the kid just lost his confidence, and that was the end of him. Painter blew his arm out, laboring in whatever minor league team the Phillies had him buried on, and now he's just another 24, 25-year-old that throws 96 miles an hour. Everybody throws 96 miles an hour. He lost his 100 miles. He's lost a couple miles an hour off his fastball. His best pitch is a curveball. He's really just not, and he's not that precise. He doesn't command the pitches well enough to be any good. So he's just so. He hasn't been very good at all. Phillies have not been hitting. They threw their best two pitchers at the Indians. I think the Guardians are going to hit the ball pretty hard today off of poor old Andrew Painter. Oh, I don't know why I'm looking for my pen because I got nothing to write. There we go. Rain out yesterday in the Bronx. I think that's going to set the Yankees up pretty well today. They were on a bad stretch, not playing well. Now they're facing their nemesis, the Rays, who are good again this year. The Rays are usually good, but they do have the occasional year where it just doesn't happen for them. And they make so much out of nothing that when it doesn't happen for them, they're usually 500 or below. The Yankees, it doesn't happen for them. They have so much talent. A bad year for the Yankees is like 87 wins. But the Rays are back. They're challenging the Yankees for the division lead. And we think that day off is going to set up the Yankees. Ryan Weathers has actually pitched pretty well this year. He has the stamp of approval from Jason, the aforementioned Jason, who never loses in my fantasy baseball league. So he's got Weathers active today. We think this day off is going to reset the Yankees, and they're going to have a good day today. This series has just sucked. I mean, we were on the. I guess we've been on the Pirates 2 times now, and we've lost twice. We keep fading the Blue Jays, and they keep sticking it to us. Skeens is, I swear to God, Skeens is just so. I keep thinking, I guess it depends which statistics you look at, depending on how you twist them and turn them. You can make this guy look like the next, Tom Seaver. And then in reality, he's not. He's just not. He doesn't win enough. He had every chance in the world to win Saturday. Sorry about that. The Pirates had tied that game, and they handed the ball in the bottom of the 6th to Skeens, and they said, "We've tied it. Now hold it, and we'll get it in the late innings." Well, he couldn't hold it. That's not the mark of an ace. So we're going to go ahead again with the Pirates, though. I have, it's one of these things here where I think it's just the number's too high. The Pirates have a decent pitcher going, Mitch Keller. The Pirates are an okay team. Toronto's an okay team. I think the number's just too high. And we have a pretty strong angle that likes road teams on Sunday. A day game after a day game. Well, what's that have to do with anything? Well, think about it. The home team, they win the Saturday game. They go home. They got, a number of hours between having to be back at the ballpark. So, this is a time where they might go out and have a few and party a little bit and what have you. Whereas the road team now, the Pirates want to win a game here in Toronto. They don't want to get swept. Nobody wants to get swept. So they're going to, I think, put their... Plus, that means when you've been behind the whole series, that means you probably haven't used your best relief pitchers. So they're probably going to pitch today. Come hell or high water, they're pitching today because you got to get them some work. So you're probably going to get 9 innings of the Pirates' best pitchers today. At 138, we like that. I can't go with Boston here. This is, we really got hurt bad Friday night with, we had been stroking ourselves because we had been on Boston their entire sweep in Kansas City, saying, wow, how smart are we? And then Boston come home and shit themselves because I think they're just not that good. Sonny Gray, we've never been a Sonny Gray fan. I don't think there's a dime's worth of difference between Bailey Ober, who's pitching for the Twins, and Sonny Gray. So we'll take the value. We'll take the plus 130. The Twins are scoring more runs right now than the Red Sox are. No one wants to get swept, right? But no one wants to pay 147 either. We're just gonna go ahead there and take the road team. Don't love that one. Rain out yesterday in Baltimore. So should that reset the Tigers? They've been playing like total shit. So they had a day off. So maybe they're going to come back and, this is how we're going to play this. We're going to take Baltimore in game 1, but we're going to take Detroit in game 2. And that's a play against Trevor Rogers. He's total ass right now. And I don't know how on earth you lay 125 with Trevor Rogers. I mean, he is total ass. I wouldn't trust him to do anything. So that's how we're going to play the Baltimore doubleheader. We like the Mets. Again, this is day game after day game down there in Miami. And we think the Mets are going to play pretty well today. That's a pretty fair number. I'm looking at the starters here. Where am I? There we are. I honestly, I just reflexively wrote down the Mets just because they fit into my model. And that's a pretty strong angle we're playing here. So we really like the Mets. Washington, Atlanta. Washington came through pretty well for. We should have won them Friday night, and they could have mitigated somewhat that abject disaster Friday night, and Washington fumbled it away in a 2-run lead in the last inning. They fumbled it away. Well, they hung on to it last night. So I don't know why we would step off of Washington here. They've pretty much played Atlanta to a standstill in this series, and we're getting a big price on them. Atlanta's pitcher's Martin Perez. Is there any reason we need to be super excited about that? I mean, I don't think so. So I think we're safe there with, trying to get another big price on Washington. The model just screamed and jumped up and down and did a little dance for this one. And that's Brian Woo for Seattle. I mean, he must, that guy probably, I hope he likes Ric Flair, because that poor kid must get that like every day of his life. Brian Woo. Poor guy. Yeah, I don't know. They got shut out by some guy named Stephen Kolak. He went 9 innings. That never happens, and Seattle couldn't score. I don't know. I mean, it feels almost like, I don't know, maybe they just need to see another pitcher not named Kolak. Although it does feel kind of like, if you can't hit Kolak, what can you do? You know, how can, but the model screamed Seattle, so I just said, fine, I'm losing. I'll just trust you. Why not? So, we've had Colorado this whole series. We got one Friday night. We should have had one last night. They played Arizona to a standstill. They were down a run in the 8th inning. They had the first 2 guys on first and second base, and that's where the game went away from them. So you got nobody out. You got the tying run on second base. You got the winning run on first base, and the manager decides to bunt. And I like small ball. You know, I do. But I did not think that was the time to be doing that. You had a fast runner at the plate, so there was a good chance he wasn't going to get doubled on any kind of ground ball, that he would beat out the relay throw. So I didn't think your chances of a double play were that high. Ezekiel Tovar, I mean, he's pretty much of a banjo hitter, but he's probably going to make contact. You know, I don't think that the guy's a 3 true outcome hitter where he's just going to whiff half the time. So I thought you could have trusted the guy to take some swings, maybe bloop a single in there or something. But I mean, the Arizona saw it coming. They ran the wheel play. So, you know, if you're not familiar with that, that's where I guess, shortstop or the first baseman comes streaking in from first base to field the bunt. In other words, we're sure you're bunting. The first baseman runs at sprint speed towards the batter as soon as basically the guy squares around it all. And it's got to be a really good bunt. So he bunts the first time, he screws it up, misses it. And then they put it on again. They know they're running this wheel play. So the announcer's like, well, he's got to get it down to third base there. He's got to bunt it towards third base. Yeah, no shit. Well, these guys can't bunt at all. So you're lucky he even gets the ball down. So it's a bad bunt. He bunts it right towards the pitcher. The first baseman scoops it up, throws the third. The guy's out by a mile. And that was the game. You know, I just didn't think it was smart strategy there. So that game, I think, could have gone either way. I think we're getting a nice price there. We got an actual legitimate pitcher pitching for Colorado in Quintana. Ryan Nelson, I don't think get much of him for Arizona. I don't think he's pitched that well this year. And I certainly don't think he should be minus 190. It's a Yamamoto day. The Admiral's coming. I'm not sure why I got off the Dodgers yesterday. I guess I was just so discouraged that they had let me down Friday night that I jumped ship, and of course then they stuck it to me. So we're going to get back with the Dodgers. This is another, it's kind of like last weekend where the Yamamoto was a huge favorite against the Padres, and it was sort of like, well, this is just dumb. This number's way too high. I'm starting to think there is no number that's high enough for Ohtani and Yamamoto. These are the guys that the Dodgers, I almost think that they play better when those guys pitch. And not because they're pitching, you know what I mean? In other words, we're going to put our best foot forward when these guys are on the mound because we don't want you having any thought that you could beat these guys whatsoever. We want you guys fearful and terrified going into the playoffs because you know the Admiral is going to be pitching and you can't hit the Admiral. So we're going to go ahead there with the Dodgers. Oh, I like Texas here. I mean, they're trying to avoid a sweep against the crummy Angels. Oh, Lord. Texas, it's anybody's division except the Angels. They can't win because they're terrible. But Texas could win this division if they could just get their shit together. Reed Detmers, nothing special there for the Angels. And Mackenzie Gore. Gore can pitch well, and I certainly like him as an underdog more than a favorite. So we'll take Texas. The White Sox, this is, we like the White Sox. They're playing well. This is a team that's certainly showed a lot of, Murakami is one of the best players that you don't know anything about, and he is making that team relevant. That's a team that can score some runs. So 2 in a row for the Giants, and we don't like Robbie Ray. We never have. So White Sox there. And then this last one, we're going to go ahead and take a shot with the A's. I think we're getting a tasty price there. Some of these numbers in that series have been like, last night's game, the Padres were actually underdogs. So what? And we got that game. We were happy to get that game. Well, we like Oakland here in that's a nice big number. And I think, Oakland's got some thumpers, and a couple of those guys put the ball over the fence. We could get a nice big number there. All right. We're down 6.5 units for the year. Let's do something about that. I'm not going to feel like we're really back until we get that number back down to around 0 or higher. Right now we're still digging out of this hole that I was so excited. I thought, man, we're almost there. We're out of the hole. And then we had that abject disaster Friday night. And that just set, I was sad yesterday. I really was. I'm still, I'm happy we won Saturday, but I don't know. It's a long season. I gotta keep telling myself that. It's a long season. You just got to keep the routine. Keep the routine. Right now, the routine, we're building the routine, and once we get the routine, then I think the payoffs will come. Reasonably sure. Hey, great, good. We'll talk again.